Welcome back to our series on lectures. Today we are going to talk about part 1 of the history of microbiology. The lecture is presented by Microbiology Biological Sciences. Kindly subscribe to our channel to view more such videos and tutorials as they come. If you have any question, kindly feel free to ask and we'll be able to answer. History of microbiology, part 1. Microbiology claims very early roots, but its systemic development came later in the 19th century, and since then it has expanded in many ways unexpected by any of the other biological sciences. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the contributions made by the following scientists to the science of microbiology. Number 1, Robert Hooke existed between 1635 to 1703. Atoni van Leeuwenhoek between 1632 to 1723. And Ferdinand Cohn, who existed between 1828 and 1898. The discovery of microorganisms, although had long been suspected, was linked to the discovery of microscope. Robert Hooke, a mathematician and natural historian, was an excellent microscopist. In his book Micrographia, wrote in 1665, the first book donated to microscopic observation, he illustrated the fruiting structures of molds, the first known description of microorganisms, among other things. Robert Hooke. In the same year, after observing these structures of cork through a relatively crude microscope, he reported that life's smallest structural units were little boxes of cells. He was able to see the individual cells, and this marked the beginning of the cell theory. The cell theory says that all living things are composed of cells. Atoni van Leeuwenhoek. A Dutch draper and amateur microscopic builder, Atoni van Leeuwenhoek was the first to see a bacteria. Van Leeuwenhoek, aware of Hooke's work, used a simple microscope of his own construction to examine microbial content of natural substances, with which, by careful manipulation and focusing, he was able to see bacteria, refer them to molecules in 1676 while studying pepper water in infusion. He reported this observation in a series of letters to the Royal Society of London, which published them in 1864 in English translation. Van Leeuwenhoek's observation was later confirmed by many other scientists. Due to lack of experimental tools, little progress was made in understanding the nature and importance of microorganisms was made for about 150 years. In the 19th century, improved microscopes and some simple tools for growing microorganisms in vitro became available. Ferdinand Cohn. In the mid to the late 19th century, major advances in microbiology were made due to attention given to the two major questions that surrounded biology and medicine at that time. That is, number 1, does spontaneous generation occur? What is the nature of infection diseases? Ferdinand Cohn was a trained German botanist and an excellent microscopist. He studied in cell algae and later on bacteria, including the large bacterium Bagiatoa. He studied heat resistance in bacteria, which made him discover that some bacteria form endospores. He described the life cycle of spore-forming bacterium bacilli, vegetative cell endospore, and vegetative cell, and showed that only vegetative cells are killed by heat, but not the endospores. Cohn is also credited with laying down the foundation for a system of bacterial classification, including an attempt to define a bacterial species. Founded major scientific journals for plants and microbial biology. He advocated use of the techniques and research of Robert Koch. He advised simple and effective aseptic methods of preventing contamination culture media, such as the use of cotton for clothing, flasks, and tubes. Thank you very much for viewing our lecture. Kindly subscribe to our channel to view more of such videos. Our next lecture will be on the spontaneous generation. This lecture is presented by Microbiology, Biological Sciences. Thank you very much for viewing our lecture. See you in the next lecture, that's lecture 14. Goodbye.